Welcome to Nerd Narrates, where I pick the best stories from the internet and share them with you. Let's begin the video. I am 28, moved out of my country to pursue my degree when I turned 18. I've only visited twice ever since then. It is partly because of the fact that my family isn't close to each other anymore, and everyone lives far away from each other. They rarely get together and prefer to keep up through video calls, texts, and other means of social media. I was never close to them particularly, so this arrangement worked fine for me, as I would much rather spend time with my friends and girlfriend I've made here during holidays or other occasions. So, when my brother, M33, informed me that he was planning to get married to his longtime girlfriend, I was quite excited, as I would get to catch up with a few high school friends, my nieces and nephews, and also my siblings. The wedding had been set to take place in January, and I had received an invitation. The invitation allowed a +1, so I decided to bring my girlfriend along with me. I spent a lot of my holidays with my girlfriend's family. They're amazing people who have accepted me as one of their own. So, this made my visit feel even more exciting, as this would be the very first time my girlfriend would meet my family face to face. As me and my girlfriend both had the option to work remotely, we decided to land a month before the wedding so that we could help my brother with any wedding-related planning and also travel. December went amazingly well. We traveled a lot. I had the opportunity to introduce my girlfriend to my friends and also explore more of the country. A few of my family members had joined us on these trips, so I got a chance to introduce my girlfriend to these family members before everyone else who I was only going to see for the wedding. Among one of these people was my youngest sister. Let's call her Ashley for the sake of the story. Ashley was the one who had picked us up from the airport and allowed us to live in her house the entirety of our trip, as she had a house big enough to accommodate the both of us. Ashley's family was amazing and very much accommodating. Ashley lived with her 2 children and husband, who worked for a company abroad, so was away for most of our visit until he came back around Christmas. During the start of the visit, my girlfriend and I would usually visit places by ourselves. However, when Christmas break started for my niece and nephew, Ashley had made plans for us that would help us bond together. We had an amazing time, not only traveling, seeing new places, but also bonding with my niece and nephew alike. I also got the opportunity to meet my BIL, as he had returned by the time it was Christmas. He's an amazing guy, treats my sister well, and my niece and nephew love him very much. He was kind enough to get us Christmas gifts on his way back, and I saw that my sister was happy, so was I. Because what more would a brother want than to see his sister happy, right? So, after the Christmas party was over and my BIL, SIL, and girlfriend headed to bed, it was just me, my niece, and nephew. We were joking around as my nephew started talking about how he had gotten my niece the gift she's been asking for so long. He continued to say that he had to hide it in his room, as if their mother had found it, they'd be yelled at once again. I laughed along with them because I thought it would be nothing but just some gaming-related item, as my niece and nephew were very much into it, and my sister had expressed her discontent towards their screen time. So, my nephew tells us to wait as he runs upstairs to grab my niece's gift. When he comes back with it, he jokes how he had to save up with it, so he hopes that something interesting comes out of it to make his money worth. I just sit there, watching my niece rip apart the gift wrapper to reveal an Ancestry DNA kit. This did not feel like a surprise to me. Through what my sister had told me, I thought that my niece knew about her background, so I asked her if she's excited to find out her Hispanic ancestry, to which she replied with a "what?" and a very confused look on her face. My nephew had a similar look, and so did I. I continued to tell her that her biological dad is Hispanic, and that is what I was referring to. All hell broke loose as my niece and nephew gave me a completely dumbfounded look, and that is where I believe it hit me. My sister never revealed it to her children that my niece wasn't my BILs biologically. The silence probably also gave my niece and nephew some time to put the pieces together as they started to ask me more questions. I knew this wasn't the conversation I should have with them, so I told them they should talk to their mother when she wakes up, and understandably so, they told me they were not patient enough to wait until morning, so they decided to wake her up. Now, it was almost 1 a.m. in the morning when they woke up my sister and brought her into the living room. Looking at the DNA test laying on the sofa made her face turn white as a ghost, and the question that my niece hit her next made her look like she was on the verge of fainting. She sat down in complete silence as my niece continued to ask her what I was telling her was true. If her dad knew, and why did they have to keep hiding this for so long? My sister had no answers to these questions, as she sat like she had seen a ghost. She took a couple of minutes to collect herself before she blew up at them for the completely wrong reason, for buying the DNA test. Her defensiveness furthermore just proved that what I said was true and a broken argument between them. This woke my girlfriend up as she was sleeping in the room next to the living room, unlike my BIL, who was asleep in the room upstairs. The argument continued as my girlfriend tried with the best of her abilities to calm the situation down, but unfortunately, this only made my sister project her anger onto me. She berated me by telling me that this was the reason why no one invited me back to our home country, how I was better off there, and how she shouldn't have taken me in if all I was here for was to ruin her family. This shocked me as I told her that it was her who had told me that her family knew about the situation. I was honestly so confused and distraught that it was all I could utter. My niece had started tearing up at that point, and my girlfriend and nephew had went on to comfort her. My sister told me that I needed to pack my bags and leave the next day, which I said I would because I did not want to live here anyways. Surprisingly, my niece sided with me and told my sister that I wasn't wrong for what I did. She had always had her suspicions because of how different she looked to her father and how people often pointed out her Hispanic features. She just did not think her mom cheating would be the reason behind it because her father had a few Hispanic relatives too. I'm currently laying in bed as my girlfriend suggested that all of us should get some sleep before discussing the situation, and we agreed. I explained the situation to my girlfriend to the best of my abilities and asked my girlfriend if I was wrong for saying what I said. She said that I wasn't, but seeing my sister's reaction conflicted me. I'm here for some outside perspectives, so Reddit. AITA for revealing the secret to my niece that her bio dad was Hispanic, even though my sister told me she had always known so. Update 1. Some of you seem a little confused, so here's some background. My sister met my BIL in college where they hit it off. When they graduated, they were in a long-distance relationship for a couple of years because my BIL wanted to pursue his post-grad education from a state that was away from our home state. At that time, I was in my senior year of high school and living with my sister. Things were going well between my BIL and my sister until she ended up having an affair with her colleague at the place she used to work part-time. I found this out as I had caught them in bed together. I instantly told my brother of this, and the news spread to my other siblings and the rest of the family. By the time this entire situation took place and I knew what happened, I had left the country for my bachelor's. Being a stupid 18-year-old, I kept in touch with my sister and threatened her that I would tell my BIL if she did not. So, when she told me that she fell pregnant with the baby of her affair partner and that BIL wanted to be with her regardless, I was a bit suspicious but decided to let go. As years went by, she kept up the story by telling me that her affair partner did not want to have any part in my niece's life. She also took the lie further by telling me that my niece and nephew both knew of the situation. I knew things were not going to end for my sister because my niece and nephew would not hesitate to talk to their father about the situation. I felt terrible, not for my sister, but my BIL and my niece and nephew because they were clearly the victims in the situation. Morning came, and I went for breakfast with my girlfriend. I hadn't slept at all, and I knew so didn't my niece, nephew, and sister. There was an awkward tension around the table before my niece asked her father why he didn't tell her about her biological dad. Confused, my BIL asked her what she was talking about and that her biological dad was sitting right in front of her. I felt like sinking into my seat as I knew the silence before the storm had ended. All through this, my sister sat quiet. I think she had realized she could no longer hide her dirty secret from her family. My BIL continued to ask my niece questions, and she answered with the little information that she had gathered yesterday. I saw my BIL's reaction change in real time as my sister started tearing up, and BIL turned to me for answers. I knew I owed my BIL and niece this, so I explained the situation to them. From the very start, and by the time I had finished talking, my sister's entire family had started to cry as they knew this would be the end of their time as a family. My BIL got up and locked himself inside the room, and so did my niece and nephew. They informed me not to worry and they just need some time alone. I still have an eye on them in case anything happens. As for my sister, she has been nothing but numbingly quiet. I think the situation hasn't quite sunk into her yet. In all honesty, I'm the same. What I thought would come out of this trip and what actually did has me feeling shocked and dumbfounded. My BIL has decided to file for divorce and has moved out of the house. My niece, nephew, and BIL now live with my BIL's mother. BIL informed me that he has enrolled both the children into therapy and they're trying their best to cope with the situation. My niece went ahead and took the DNA test. The test results came out as expected and my BIL isn't the father. This led to my niece and nephew completely cutting contact with my sister for the time being and BIL only communicating with her through his lawyer. My sister is going through something similar as that of a breakdown and has been sent to live with my brother. She's been told that she can only live here for about a month and she'll be needing to find her own job and living arrangements. When I first told my brother of the situation, he got quite mad at me, figuring that my sister, much like me, must have lied to him as well. I explained to him the situation from the very start. He was shocked to hear what I had to tell him as he told me what had gone down when I left. He went on to reveal that my sister begged everyone in the family to not tell my BIL the truth, claiming that her affair partner was pretty much a deadbeat and she would not be able to care for her child by herself. From all the guilt tripping and manipulation, my family has decided to keep her secret within the family. He continued to explain that this was the reason why the family had fallen apart more than it already had. That is how this turned into a family secret. Being astounded would be an understatement, as my sister had come up with a sort of master plan that could only take her so far. I think it's needless to say that my brother's wedding is going to be awkward, as there's going to be a sense of unpleasantness, even though my sister is uninvited from the wedding. My brother set me up with his friend who owns an Airbnb, and that's where me and my girlfriend are going to live for the rest of the trip. Although my BIL was gracious enough to offer us to live in their house even though they're away, I had decided to decline the offer as living there will bring back all the memories of the fact that I technically ruined my sister's family. It still hurts, even though I know it is only the karma of her wrongdoings. I'll be taking some time off and distancing myself from my family until my brother's wedding comes up, as I think I need some time to process all of this. Thank you so much for all your amazing advice, guys. It is much appreciated. Whew! Sister went through some great lengths to hold her secret, but Like people say, the truth always prevails. Even though BIL found out late, I'm glad he did. It's never too late to start fresh. I hope BIL niece and nephew come to terms with this change with time. Your NTA. NTA. There was no way you would know that your sister had lied to you. Your sister should have seen this coming one day or the other because a relationship can never be built on lies. Her act of selfishness tore apart the entire family, and I doubt if she even has an inch of remorse. Distance yourself from the rest of your family, but please keep looking out for your nieces and nephews. OP, they probably need you during such a time. Next story. Over a year and a half ago, I learned, thanks to modern-day ancestry DNA kits, that I fathered a child over 17 years ago with an ex-fling right before starting college. Both her mother and husband kept us from knowing about each other because he didn't want me involved as part of forgiving her for her apparent infidelity. We still learned the truth. After that, we wanted to know everything about each other. Sadie, my daughter, is such a wonderful person. I've been really blessed to get to know her and be there for her as her father. Right now, she still has a complicated relationship with her mom. As angry as I've been at them for lying to me, I've learned to get past it while also telling Sadie to give them a chance. She still doesn't want to, and asked to come live with me as soon as she's 18 until she can have enough to be on her own. Since this weekend was her 18th birthday, she wanted the whole family to go out to eat together. So it was them, her maternal grandparents and cousins, my family as well, eating together. Everyone brought their gifts. My gift to her that I didn't tell her about because I wanted it to be a surprise was not only plane tickets for us to go camping in Yosemite once she graduates from high school next month, but it was also to show her I've set up a college fund for her so she doesn't have to worry about student loans or financial aid. My daughter was beyond happy. I've never seen her cry that way from excitement. It was very emotional for me to make her so happy like that. The only problem that came after that was her mom ridiculing me for showing them up in front of everyone, getting her these big expensive gifts. Her husband has felt bad ever since that dinner because the only thing they gave her was a bracelet with a family photo. She acts like Sadie not being happy with their gift had anything to do with what I got her, when the reality was she didn't want them there. Her grandma convinced her to let them, but obviously I didn't say that because then I'd feel like an ass. But I did say doing this for my daughter wasn't to act like I'm better than them, it was to give her something she's always wanted and also invest in her future when I couldn't be in her past. She continues to accuse me of purposely doing this to embarrass them, not even discussing with them what I was planning on doing and getting their okay ahead of time. She seems genuinely upset about it, and I really don't know if I stepped over a line. Sadie was going to be 18 when I made that decision, so it didn't seem like it was necessary to discuss it with them. Her husband even messaged me this morning asking wasn't it enough that Sadie's moving with me, and I didn't have to twist the knife further by winning her over with money. AITA? NTA. They messed up and kept your daughter from you. That's unforgivable in my book. You didn't get to see her grow up. Worse, it sounds like she didn't find out from them. You can be part of her future, and you showing her you will be nothing can make up for the missed years. I don't think her mom and stepdad would have told her, and she knows that. Mom feels like she's crossed because she got caught, but isn't accepting the blame for what she did. Not your problem.